So today we will first time we will discuss about how to pass two-dimensional arrays quickly, and then after that I will take questions. Primarily revise pointers and arrays one more time. That is the plan for today. And yeah, let's get started. So we have here itself. Let's see, read matrix or C. So yeah, we want to read matrices in a modular fashion print. So we want to write a couple of functions. One function is void read matrix, and we are talking about 2D arrays. So it so turns out when we are working with 2D arrays, we have to pass the exact values of the dimensions except leaving the first dimension aside. So let's say this is this is the second. We are working on, let's say, an array with 3 rows and 4 columns. So int number of rows. Okay. So important thing. So you focus here. If you listen to what is happening right now, you will do well in your exam, irrespective of whether you know the syllabus or not. And so print matrix. So these are the two things that we would like to work on, and our goal is something like we would like to read matrix and so do some compute matrix. We have to do some stuff here, and then again print matrix. This is what we are trying to do. So, and if you look at the array, so we are looking at, let's say we are working on array with 3 rows and 4 columns. So what happens is we have to pass to this matrix, this array A, and the number of rows that are present. The number of rows are 3, so we pass number of rows. The same thing when we are about to print a matrix, we have to pass the matrix and the number of rows that are present in the matrix. And then, so we have a loop where we go like this. For row is equal to 0, row less than, in this case, the number of rows plus row. And then we say for int call is equal to 0. In every row, we want to traverse all the columns. So call less than number of is less than or equal to 4. Is less than 4 because we have 4 columns, and plus call, and so scanf %d and %e of row column. Are you with me on the read matrix code? No? So we cannot, the syntax, it has to be when we are passing parameters to a matrix, we have to give, we can skip the number of rows, but we have to give the number of columns. Towards the end of today's lecture, we will try to understand. Empty bracket means it tells it's a, it's an array. That's all. It doesn't mean anything else. It's a syntax. It's a convention. We are trying to tell the compiler that we are trying to pass an array. And then the second parameter, we are passing the number of rows. And then we iterate through the rows. We scan the rows, and then again, after that, we print the columns. So here in the read matrix, we are passing the parameter, this array as a parameter. We are passing the base address of the array. Remember, every matrix, it has a base address. Okay, and here we are passing the base address of the array as a parameter. So, and the second parameter is 3. That means we are, the number of rows in this matrix is 3, and that's what we are passing. So when we go here and we are just iterating through, in every row there are 4 columns. So we iterate through every row, column after column, and finally we do a scan. Can I give you read matrix another name? Of course, Apar, you can give any name. Don't worry about defining functions below main for the time being. We will come to that later, that idea. But if this code is, will the array in read matrix be different from that in, no, the array, it will be exactly the same. They will be pointing to the same memory locations. Is my voice breaking? No. Okay. So let's compile this code, and we will revisit this idea one more time towards the end of this lecture, this example. But for the time being, let's run this and see if it is working. GCC read matrix.c .a.out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so what's the problem? It is printing. So after we print a row, what should we do? First of all, after we print a row, we should print /n, new line character we should print. And within every row, we have to, let's say we allocate 6 columns for every element. So we have to give spaces between elements in a row, but we want to print it more clean. So we are saying 6 spaces for every element so that the matrix get clearly printed. Okay, so .a.out. I'm just copy pasting the output. Copy, paste. See? I hope you're all with me on this example, this read matrix example, where we are trying to read the matrix through, you may have some, so why you may be feeling somewhat dissatisfied because this looks peculiar and you're not able to understand the reason. There is a reason why. So first thing is this empty square bracket. This is a syntax. Just use the syntax as it is. And the second is there is a reason for why we can skip the first the number of rows, but we cannot skip the number of columns. And so here when we are passing A, we are actually passing the base address of this 2D matrix. We will understand this. No, we will review the. I'll review the ideas of pointers one more time, and then revisit this example and tell why this makes sense. %6D means you will be, each element will be given 6 positions on the screen. So like for example, if it is 123, 3 spaces and 123. If it is 12, then 4 spaces and 12, so on and so forth. Does it make sense? %6D. What is printed in next line? No, we have a printf/n. Because of that, after every row, we are printing a new line. %6D means 6 positions are allocated while printing. So let's say if you are printing 123, yeah. So the 123 requires 2 character spaces. So the rest of the 3 will be empty. If it is, yeah, exactly, yes, yeah. So that will give a good pretty print. If you just give space between them, you don't get a nice characters. Space is a character. No? It's so you just print space and that empty position, you just print space. Okay. All right now. So now, shall we review pointers once? Okay, so we will review pointers once, and then after pointers, we look at arrays, 1D arrays, and then 2D arrays. When we come to 2D arrays, we will revisit this example. So I see there are why we have to give. So there is a reason you will understand the reason as we exactly. Shivam gave the answer, but let's not. I don't want to get there now. Perhaps towards the end of the class, you will understand it better. Okay. So you all have good questions. I'm going to hold. I will not answer those questions immediately for some good reasons. I want you all to understand some very basic ideas one more time. And as you understand those basic ideas, some of these things will be clarified. So I want to start with pointers. So review 1. So ptr.c. Okay. So now we have a variable A. How many bytes will be allocated to variable A? 4 bytes. What is the type of the data which variable A holds? Integer. So now we have another variable we are declaring, ptra. So how many bytes will be allocated to ptra? 4. May not be 4, it could be 8 also. It depends on the machine. So let's say 4 or 8, okay. What is the type of data? What does ptra? What is the type of data that ptra holds? Ptra contains an address. Does it contain the address of, it contains the address of an object which is of type integer. It contains the address of an object whose type is integer. Yes or no? address of an object whose type is integer. So now we are doing this, we say A is equal to 2, and then we say star ptr A is equal to 2 is equal to 1. All right. And then we say printf A is equal to %d / n A. So when we run this program, what will be the output? Won't it be 1? How many of you think it is 1? Okay. We haven't defined PTRE. PTRE doesn't point to anything yet. Okay, awesome. Good, good. Let's do a GDB on this program and see what happens. Pay attention here. This is where the fun begins. We'll start here. And those of you who have trouble with pointers, I understand, last time many of you are asking questions. And when we run this program, what do you think will be output? Is there anyone who claims it would be neither 1 or 2? Is there anyone? Pardik, why do you think so? It's neither 1 or 2. Yeah, you can assign 1 to address. Error. No error. Any other answers? This is segfault, yeah. So, yeah, let's see what happens. GCC pointer.c. Segmentation fault. How many of you got segmentation fault in assignment 1 or assignment 2 while trying to solve? Multiple times, huh? Okay, good. You got bus error. Who got bus error? Harshit. Okay, on Mac. Mostly mistakes in scanf. You only got disappointed. Himanshu, what's up with you? You're doing okay? Okay, now so let's GDB this program. So GDB a.out, and you're putting a breakpoint on main. So run. So now we are on line number 8. We are on line number 8, and we didn't yet execute line number 8. So let's see what A contains. A contains some value. It is a garbage value. And then if you look at PTRA, it contains 0. PTRA is not initialized. It is containing some 0. So when we go and look, if you take a look at the memory map, this is the memory map. This is the memory map. So if you look at print address of A and print address of PTR A. What is the address of A? From the screen, what is the address of A? Can we do it together? Please help me out. This is A. This is 2EF. And address of PTR A, 2E8. Okay, so 2E8. So let's say it is here. This is PTR A. It is 2E8. So A contains some garbage value. So actually that garbage value turned out to be 32767 and PTR A it is containing 0. So on line number 8, after we execute line number 8, okay, I'm giving the command next. So what will be the contents of the memory location 2EF? What will be the after it is 2, it gets overwritten. So this gets overwritten and this becomes 2. Now when we try to execute line number 10, what happens? Now we are about to execute line number 10. What will happen? When we try to execute line number 10, what does line number 10 means? PTR A contains an address. Go to that address and write 1 into that address. So here 0x0, 0x0, this is the address. PTR A contains an address. Go to that address and write. So, but usually what happens is here at the lower addresses, BIOS will be present and followed by that operating system will be present. OS kernel will be present. So when you try to go to address 0 and try to modify it, then you don't have permissions. So the operating system kills the process by sending what is called as a SIG-SEGV signal. Segmentation fault signal. You are trying to access a memory location. You are trying to write into a memory location for which you don't have permission. Are you all with me here? So some of you said it's very simple now. What does star PTRA means? Star PTRA means PTRA contains some address. Go to that address and update that location with 1. The address is 0, so you are going to address 0. But address 0, usually BIOS will be present, flash memory there, and we don't have permissions. User processes don't have permissions to write into that particular address space in the memory. Are you all with me on this? It's not default is not 0. It can be anything. Okay. No guarantees. Are you all with me on why we are getting a segmentation fault first? Yes, no? And now, so we have to fix this problem. No? So this is not working out. So there is a problem. There is a problem in the code. We have to fix this code. So how do we fix this code? So we will have to put into PTRA is equal to address of A. So now when we run this program, what do we get? We get 1 as the output. Let's run the program. GCC -G ptr.c.a.out. We are getting 1. Now let's try to understand what is happening in this program. Break main, run, next. Let's trace this code. Okay, so print address of A, print address of PTRA. Pay attention. Okay, what is address of the variable A? Can you help me out here? What is the address of variable A? 2DC. What is the address of PTRA? 2E0. So now, when we run this program, next. So now A is equal to 2. What will be the contents of the memory location 2DC? Contents of the memory location 2DC. It is 2. What will be the contents of the memory location 2E0? It is garbage value. It is garbage. Now, as of now, it is garbage. We didn't still execute line number 10. So now when I say next and execute, PTRA is equal to address of A, what will be the contents of 2E0? 2E0 contains 2DC. Excellent. Are you all with me here till this point? All good? Okay. So now, when we execute line number 12, what does star PTRA is equal to 1? That means PTRA contains the address of an integer object. Go to that integer object and update it. So what will happen after line number 12 gets executed? What will be the contents of 2DC? Changes from 2 to 1. Okay, 2DC changes from 2 to 1. So this one changes to 1. This is what is going to happen. Great. That's all. So next, you print A is equal to 1, and that's what happens. So now there is this question which is bothering some of you. So here by mistake, if you write PTRA is equal to 1, what will happen? You don't get an error. 2DC changes to 1. Huh? What will happen to 2DC? PTRA is equal to 1. What will happen to 2DC? Nothing happens. 2E0 becomes 1. Are you all with me? Only 2E0 becomes equal to 1 and nothing happens to 2DC. If you want to change 2DC, we have to use star operator. If you understand this example, then you are in a good shape that what is happening can star is a dereferencing. But 2DC is 1 before also, like whatever. Like if PTRA is equal to 1, PTRA changes to 10. So Ramandeep has an interesting question. If you know the address of another program, can we overwrite it? Not possible, Ramandeep. You cannot know the address of another program. There is a reason, we will look into it later. How can integer store an address? PTRA is not an address, it's a pointer, right? I don't get the question. Size of PTRA depends on the machine. It could be 8 bytes on my machine. Okay, I think I want you to hold on to your questions. There is nothing like int gets into hexadecimal, is just for our understanding. Finally, everything is zeros and ones, neither hexadecimal nor decimal numbers. Are you with me? When you write 0x10, when you write 10, these are all our own things, but finally everything is 0 and 1 in the computer. It's stored as zeros and ones. Shall I move on and try to look at the next? Okay. So now let's modify this code. And we want to do, let's say we have this thing, set var int star ptr ptr is equal to 1 in a class.
Yeah, okay, it's in the class. Okay.
So star ptr is equal to 1, and yeah, so this is what we are going to do. Set var ptra. Now when we run this program, what will happen? When we run this program, what will be printed on the screen? So here, when we run this program and enter set var, let's run this program and see what happens. We'll trace this program. GCC -g ptr.c a is equal to 1. Let's see what is happening here. Break set var, break main. So run, next, next, next. Okay. So you see what is the address of ptra? Address of A is, what is the address of A? 2DC. What is the address of, let's see, what does ptra? If I print ptra, what will it contain? What will ptra contain? Okay. ptra also contains the same. So now when we call set var, what happens? If we call set var, what will be the output of ptr? I am doing print ptr now. What will it contain? We are passing parameter as a call by value. Whatever ptra contains, which is the address of A, the parameter ptr also contains. So parameter ptr also contains the same. That means parameter ptr contains the address of the variable A. If it contains the address of the variable A, will it be able to modify it? What does ptr is? So ptr contains the address of the variable A. That's all. Because we are so after line 5 gets executed, so this is what the picture is. So in case for those of you, let's do this. So what is the address of A? What is the address of A right now? Can you tell me? Address of A is 2DC. Address of ptra, we don't know because we didn't printed it, but let's see how to print it. Yeah, address of PTR is 2E0. Okay. Don't worry about this. I just wanted to, so 2E0. What does PTRA contain when we call 17? When we on line number 17, what does PTRA contain? 2DC, right? Are you all with me till this point? That by the time we are on line number 17, the variable PTRA contains 2DC. And now when we called setVar function has another variable PTR. Okay, the address of PTR, let's try to print the address of PTR. The address of PTR is 2B8. And what does PTR contain? What does PTR contain? 2DC, yeah, 2DC. Because whatever this is PTRA contains, it gets copied into this. Are you all with me here? Do you like this address tracing? Usually people draw black boxes, etc. But we are actually seeing what is happening underneath the machine. And I feel that's the best way to go about this. And now on line number 15, when we do star PTR, what happens? When we do star PTR, what happens? When we do star PTR, that means whatever the address that is present in PTR, go to that address. And there you write 1 in it. Are you with me here? If you understand this, then that's it. You know everything about pointers. That's all about pointers, nothing more than that. Why 2B8 contains 2DC here? Because we are on line number 17, we are calling the setVar function with PTRA as a parameter, call by value. So whatever that is present in PTRA, it gets copied. This gets copied into PTR. Are you all happy till this point? First checkpoint for today's class. Are you all happy till this point? That's all. So, and then, and so here, so instead of PTRA, if you use, is this going to change anything? So now I have a question for you, but if I replace, instead of this, if I do this, what will happen? There is a possibility for getting a segmentation error, right? Because A contains 2 and you try to modify the location associated with the 2 and you will get a segmentation fault, possibly segmentation fault. Because this gets modified to 2 and then when you try to go and update the memory location associated with the 2 and then you get into trouble. It's not like that, Aman, like, see, sometimes when you are working with embedded systems, assigning explicit addresses, etc., all these things are required. That's where the power of C programming language comes. Okay, in some cases, this makes sense, but generally, but when you are doing that, you should know what you are doing. And do you understand, some of you told when you are doing scanf, you get a seg fault. Do you now understand why you need to give in the scanf program, when you do this %d, why ampersand A is required? Does it make sense? Because scanf wants to go and update the memory location associated with A. But instead of that, if you just use A, then what happens? A contains some garbage value, you go and try to update that location and then you get into segfault. And why in printf we just use a, not ampersand a? We want to print the value associated with a. Do you now see the difference between printf and scanf? In printf, we are not trying to change anything. We just need to know the value of the variable a, and we just pass that value. Print requires the contents of that memory location. If you use ampersand a, then you print the address of that location. Exactly. Yeah, Abhinav is one step ahead of all of us. So like, for example, if you want to print ampersand a, and you can have %p or whatever, clear all my drawings. What do you think will be %p or %x you can use, but %p means, it prints nicely. %p, just use some format, we'll see. Now, do you see that that a and the address of a got printed? That is one of the major reasons that when we try to modify restricted memory locations, then segfault can happen. Are you all with me here on this example? Happy? How many of you are happy? Just, I know you have many questions, but whatever I discussed, do you not? Vinkesh is not happy. Yeah? Okay. You should review in case I'm trying my best to explain. %p is okay. It's %p is, it's just a format specifier, You have to review it carefully. You tell me, Rohan, when we pass setvar a, what is the parameter that you pass, Rohan? No, what is the exact value? Yeah, so now in setvar, when you do star ptr is equal to 1, what is the memory location you try to update? What is the address of the memory location you try to update? 2. So when you try to update memory location 2, we don't have usually access to that memory location, permission to write to that memory location. So we get segfault. Okay. Akshat, how do we know whether we have access or not? If you get segfault, then that means you don't have access. No, not like that. So what I would say is, you should usually, like if you write the program in a certain fashion, you don't get segfaults. You should not take memory allocation in your hand. When you try to go and update a particular memory location again, then you get into trouble. No, we can, HDD doesn't come into picture at all. No, not at all. Once the communication is always between processor and the main memory. And if you want to do something with the hard disks, we have to use a different mechanism to do it. We will look into it later. Okay, so now let's look at arrays. So let's say so now we want to read an array. Void read array. Okay, int a of 10. Thank you. Read array. All right. Printf sum is equal to %d / n sum document. Nice. Okay, does this program make sense to you? What do you think will gcc -g read array.c. Some of you are not happy. Return sum. Okay. Control Shift I here. Thank you, Abhinav. I will do that next time. My memory of the commands is pretty bad. So do you all understand this code? What is the use of return sum? You have to return the value, no? So for the sake of simplicity, let me use here a different array name. It doesn't change anything. Everything is still the same. So what are we doing? We are just reading an array using the read array function. We are just initializing the array elements with the 0th ith element with I star I as the initial value. That's what we are doing in the function read array. And then we called compute sum function, and we are computing the sum of the elements in the array. And finally, we are printing that sum on line number 25. We don't need, when there is only one statement, we don't need this parenthesis, this square bracket. This. Okay, so we don't need this left and right flower brackets when there is only one statement. If there are more than one statements, we have to do it. No? Okay, so now what is happening? Let's try to GDB this program. So pointers and arrays in C, they are very closely related to each other. Okay, and so the variable A, pay attention here. What does the variable A contain in the function main? The array variable A contain. What does it contain? What does it contain? The array. It contains the base address of the array. It contains the base address of the array. So let's understand what this is. Okay. So GCC minus G read array.c GDB a.out break. Base address is the array is a list of elements, right? A of 0, A of 1, A of 2. The address of the first element. Break main or break read array run. Now I want you to pay attention. When we say print A, GDB is kind of clever. So it is printing the 10 elements of the array, and these 10 elements, since they are not initialized, they print some garbage value. Okay, I hope you're all with me here. GDB is being clever. But if you kind of force GDB, and say do this, then it will print the base address. This is also nothing but the address of the 0th element. So are you all with me here that the address of the 0th element of the array or the base address of the array, they are the same. They are the same. So now if we draw this picture, the memory map. Okay. So somewhere here, let's say this is so A contains the base address 2C0, and starting from 2C0, so this is 2C0, this is the address of element A of 0. What is the address of the element A of 1? Address of element A of 1? 2C4. It is 2C4. Yes or no? Address of element A of 2? 2C8, so on and so forth. So, if A contains the base address of array, then what is the expression for A of I? We take 4. We take the address size of the integer as 4 in this case. Address of A of I, what is the expression for address of A of I? A plus 4i, that's all. A plus 4i. Because when I is equal to 0, then whatever A contains, that is the base address, and that address of A of 0 are the same. And if I is equal to 1, then it is that 2C0 plus 4, it is 2C4. If I is equal to 2, 2C0 plus 8, 2C8, so on and so forth. Does this make sense? This mapping makes sense? That address of A of I is nothing but this base. So we can write, in order to make it clear, we can say A plus 4i or base underscore ADDR plus 4 times I. Okay. Or you can even also write it as address of A of 0 plus 4 times I. All these are the same. Okay, so all these three expressions that you are seeing, they are all the same. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Okay, great. So now I have a question for you. Right now, we are on line number 24. Line number 24, let's go. Yeah, so now we entered read array function. So when we are in read array function, what does B contain? So now we are in B. What does B contain? B is a parameter, right? What does B contain? So I am having this thing. So this is B. What does B contain? B contains the base address of array. No, not the copy. The base address of this, whatever this is, this gets copied. So it contains 2C0. So now once B contains the base address, will we be able to access all the elements of A? Yes or no, right? We can B of 0, B of 1, B of 2, B of 3, it's all the same. And that is how the parameter passing mechanism via arrays happens in C without the use of explicit use of pointers, because the array name itself is a pointer. Are you all doing good? Make sense? Now we can access, once we know the base element, we can access any element. No? A contains address, Gaurav, not, we don't want to send address of A. It makes sense to send address of C. What are all the things that are good? So you can even use this also. Okay. This is also fine. What you are seeing on line number 25 is okay, right? Is it okay to use line number 28, 25? Because the base address of the element, we want to pass it as a parameter and B holds it. What we are telling is A contains, the array variable A contains, it contains the base address of the array. That is this, base address is 2C0. Yes, A of I is just a syntactic sugar for star of A plus I. That's true. So essentially, if you see, this statement is nothing but star of B plus 4 star I is equal to I star I. Okay, that means you compute an address and go update that address. Are you with me on what I have written here? There are some questions, we will go there. Is this clear? This point that B of I is equal to I star I is nothing but this. Great. Nice. Are we copying the array? When we in the read array function, when we call read array, are we copying the array? What are we copying? What are we copying? We are copying the address into the parameter B, base address. That's all we are copying. So now, like for example here, does this make sense? If I say, if I do something like this, will this work? What will B contain? I mean, it's doing something, but what will B contain? B contains the base address. We treat A of 4 as the base address of the array. Address of A of 4. And from there we initialize the next 5 elements. It will still work. It gives some value according to its own logic. Yeah, so garbage values before 4, that's true. It will work, but starts from 4th value, exactly. If you print the array, then no, the first 4 values, it will be some garbage values, Anusha. 0 to 3, it will give some garbage values. No, we are just trying to make a point on line number 24 that we can pass base address. It's a concept. Okay, we can say any address, any value and say, hey, this is the base address. We can use this idea cleverly while writing some programs. Usually those programs are tricky to understand. So Apar says, why not A of 4? What will happen if you use A of 4 here? You will get a seg fault because the value A of 4 gets passed, and A of 4 may contain some garbage value, and you may end up modifying that location, and you can get into trouble. No, what do you mean by that, Pranjali? I didn't get that question. Okay, how many of you are with me so far till this point? See, the point in C programming language, why C, why not C++ or Java is, as computer scientists, we want to understand how the language constructs are getting mapped onto the machine. Okay, and that's what we are trying to see here. We are just not learning programming, we are learning mapping of programming concepts, algorithmic ideas, and language constructs to underlying machine structures. So now I will spend 5 more minutes or to conclude the discussion on 2D arrays. Okay, so let's try to conclude the discussion on 2D arrays. See, array name, just you can just think of it as a pointer and vice versa. So it will make your life easy if you pointer read array. Let's see. So now pay attention here. Let's we are working. Yeah, maybe I can just use whiteboard. Last 5 minutes, guys, because I want to clear this concept before tomorrow's exam, so that not that I'll give questions or not give questions, but a logical. So if you think of a matrix like A of 3, 4, so it has this is row 0, row 1, row 2. This is C0, C1, C2, C3. What happens is your matrix is a 2-dimensional matrix, but in the memory, it will be mapped to a 1-dimensional thing. Okay. So what happens is all the elements of your row 0, A of 0, 0, followed by A of, this is row 1, A of 0, 2, A of 0, 3, and then again starts A of 1, 0, so on and so forth. So here you used to store row 0 followed by row 1, row 2, so on and so forth. All right. So what is happening here is, what is the base address of the element? What is the address of the element A of ij? What is the address of the element A of ij? A plus 4 star I plus 4 star. How many bytes are required to store row 0? How many? 16 bytes, right? So if you want to access an element in the first row, how many bytes do we have to skip? 16 bytes. In general, when we are trying to access an element in the ith row, then we have to skip 16 I elements. If it is 0, we skip 0 elements. If it is first row, we row 16 bytes, so on and so forth. And then once we are in the row, we just use 4j. Does this make sense? This element will help you skip, this term will help you skip the number of rows. And this will help us point to the appropriate column within that row. So what happens is, when you are passing a parameter, okay, so for example, when we have a read matrix, okay, so we have the read matrix function, read matrix int A4. So here what happens is, within this function, when you use A of I, j somewhere, then what happens is, this 16 offset, this is 16 offset that you are seeing, it depends on how many rows or how many columns are present. If you don't know the columns, then you will not be able to figure out what is the multiplicative factor that you have to use here. Yes or no? Because instead of 4, if it is n, it is 5, it will be 20, if it is 10, if it is 40, so on and so forth. So if you don't know that, then you don't know what multiplicative factor to use. But even if you don't know this, it is okay, because 4 is the multiplicative factor here. This constant you know, but this constant you don't know. So if you fix this constant, it becomes easy for the compiler to do address calculation. And because of this reason, I am guessing this particular way of passing parameters is. No, you cannot use that. No, you need to know the number of, you need to know this constant. For address calculation, this constant, it is a function of this dimension. And if this dimension is known, this constant you get. But this one is all the time 4, okay? Because this is a function of the data size. Does this make sense? Are you all with me here? Kind of. Okay. Okay, so it is time now is 1:20, so I'll stop.